Hello, friends, and welcome to NFL Daily, brought to you by MyBookie. I'm Tom Downey. That's Mitchell Renz, producer Brett Scott behind the scenes to make everything look all pretty. Unlike Bengals-Texans, we've got something worth watching for you today. We got Thursday Night Football highlights. Yeah. I guess they're technically highlights. We have some injury reports, MVP power rankings, a bunch of other segments we think you're really gonna like. Once again, I'm Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. That's Mitchell Renz at MitchellRenz365. Still has a better Twitter game than me, although I maintain I had the best tweet of the night last night.
Oh, your gifts last night had me in stitches, and then the trash can gift.
I love that one.
I could not even handle myself.
I was fully prepared to have that one prepared to go that night because I knew that this was going to be an ugly game.
Oh, for sure. I actually had a prepared tweet as well. I was sitting in the car driving home, and I just saw both teams went 3 and out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get out this tweet. Sent it out, blew up, awesome.
Well, today's show is brought to you by MyBookie. Mitchell, ever since we started hosting these NFL shows, we get hit up for advice questions. You a lot for fantasy, me for more okay, hey, who's going to win this week? Patriots, Saints, Cowboys, Broncos. We don't always get the predictions right as to who to pick or whatnot, but we do always tell you guys that where you bet is very important. That's why you guys got to bet with MyBookie. They are matching initial deposits up to $1,000. So you put down $500 or whatever, they're going to give you a free $500 to bet.
Free $500.
Free money, just given to you.
Wow, I can almost pay my rent with that. Cam, where are you? Sign up for that as well. We can pay for rent for an entire month.
Head to mybookie.ag, or if that's a little weird, that is the website name though, but you can also just go to chatsports.com/bet. It'll take you there. Use promo code CHAT to get that free 100% deposit bonus.
Wow, that's mind-blowing.
Yeah. We already have some comments here coming in. This one from Adrian says, well, what's up, brothers? How you guys doing today? You first, Mitchell.
It's Friday, my man. I'm excited going out tonight in Dallas.
We are going out tonight. We're visiting the Uptown area.
Yeah, so
I'm a little bit concerned about you tonight.
Tonight's going to be a good night. If you guys see us in Dallas, give us a shout out. Buy us a drink.
Also a good day here as we move into our news and notes segment for one, Donald Penn. He has signed a 2-year, $21 million extension, a longer holdout in the preseason. He wanted to get paid. He's getting basically double what he was making. He was making just over $5 million. This is very close to being in line with what Andrew Whitworth signed for this offseason. So getting this money for Penn, there are guarantees into next year as well, gives him some more immediate money. He was very much underpaid. There's always the element of, hey, you signed a contract, but he was getting paid pretty much the least amount of any non-rookie player or first-year contract.
Well, I think it's good that they're paying him. I mean, they just paid Carr all that money, and he's the guy protecting Carr's blind side. So it's good to see the big guys get fed, I guess, if you will.
1 sack last year, Donald Penn allowed. Unfortunately, it came on that play where Derek Carr got hurt. So that's why he's got to keep him upright. Yet another update for you guys on the Ezekiel Elliott situation. It's getting to the point where this is almost a daily segment on NFL Daily. It's just so frequent. The latest is that the NFL has filed an emergency motion for the stay of the injunction. The injunction itself was a stay of the suspension, so we're at the stay of the suspension.
Wow.
Anyone else confused?
Yep, you got me there, man.
The long story, the too long didn't want to deal with all the legal mumbo jumbo. The NFL is not going to get this motion.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So it's going to be that Zeke will play the entire year, and then it's the whole Deflategate Tom Brady thing all over again in terms of the way the courts will handle it.
Revenge season for Zeke. Get ready.
It is. Jacoby Brissett will be the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts this week. This was not a surprise to me. We watched Scott Tolzien play.
It ugly.
Had to be Jacoby.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Tolzien looked absolutely lost, and Brissett looked pretty good last year with the Patriots. Yeah, sure, he might have been in the Patriots situation, so it's a lot better than the Colts, but you can't rule Tolzien out there. That's right. Really bad.
Tough spot for him. He doesn't really know the offense all that well, but this is what we saw last year with Sam Bradford. Sat out the first game, then came in as the starter.
Yep, and that worked out well.
Speaking of Sam Bradford, he had an MRI on a knee injury. Now, he's officially listed as questionable this week, but Mike Zimmer, the Vikings head coach, expects him to start. That's a very good thing, especially with Teddy Bridgewater still hurt. The Vikings really need Sam Bradford out there.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. I don't think Bridgewater is ready for this season. And the one thing that does scare me a little bit about Bradford is just the fact that he's had the knee injuries in the past, but the guy's played well, and I hope he stays healthy. I mean, he showed out and played great on Monday Night Football.
If he can't go, the Vikings' backup is one Case Keenum.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so not exactly a rousing word of confidence there for me, Mitch.
Yeah, that one's ugly.
More updates here. This one coming to you courtesy of Mitchell Renz. He wrote this article on the Chat Sports app. Again, that's chatsports.com/app. Ken Zampese is out as the Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator. I am from Cincinnati. I physically heard the sigh of relief in Dallas all the way from Cincinnati when they fired Zampese.
Well, he's been there, since 2003, and he had a few good years.
In some regime, he took over as the offensive coordinator after Hugh Jackson and Jay Gruden left, but there was a distinct drop-off when Zampese took over as the offensive coordinator. The new coordinator is quarterbacks coach Bill Lazor.
Yeah.
Great name.
Great name.
We'll see how he fares as an offensive coordinator, but back-to-back years now, we have seen the team that struggles on Thursday Night Football fire their offensive coordinator, which brings us here to a very quick weigh-in that we have for you guys. Did the Bengals do enough by firing their offensive coordinator? We're going to get here to the highlights in a little bit here from Thursday Night Football. This is very much a bit of a desperation panic move, but a needed one.
Well, I think
they had to do this.
I think so as well. I mean, we saw A.J. Green get upset, and A.J. Green is not the type of player that gets upset. And then when you just talk about Andy Dalton's numbers, in the 18 games that Zampese's been the offensive coordinator, Dalton has 18 touchdowns. Like, for a quarterback in today's NFL to only average 1 touchdown a game, that's not cutting it.
The first thing I'll mention is that I think within the locker room and within the Bengals organization, there was no more confidence in their offensive coordinator. And when that happens as a head coach, you have to make the change. Because if the team doesn't believe in their quarterback or their play caller, you're not going to have success.
Man, if there's a team that has more issues in the locker room and coaches right now, I mean, the Bengals, they're a nightmare right now.
We will talk more about the Bengals here. We will talk more about their head coaching situation with Marvin Lewis. We're going to have some social media reactions as well to this, some very funny tweets that popped up from this game. But we're going to get to the highlights here now as well. We call them highlights. The highlights here are intentionally in quotations because
they're gross.
It was not a great game here. We will start, though, here a little past midway in the first quarter. It is the first John Ross sighting, the reverse. He's very fast. He picks up 12 yards, but he fumbles the ball. Kareem Jackson knocked it loose. Jadeveon Clowney picks it up and rumbles all the way down to the Bengals 20, leads to a field goal. That was the last we saw of John Ross. Still first quarter, Dalton has some time, and he goes deep. A.J. Green in triple coverage makes a great catch, leads to a field goal, 3-3 here in the first quarter. Jump back to the late first half. Deshaun Watson, 3rd and 15. The Bengals bring 4. And somehow, Deshaun Watson, I think this is partially a terrible defensive plan here, runs for a 49-yard touchdown. The play of the game offensively, that makes it 10-3. Bengals get points before the half. Dalton rolls out, finds Alex Erickson in for the bench. John Ross makes a nice catch, leads to a field goal as well. We're going to jump to the last play of the game here because the offenses were brutal. Dalton to A.J. Green, time for the old lateral play. And we're going to go back to Andy Dalton. Gio Bernard's going to bobble around a little bit. He's going to run, and he's going to be able to actually make some nice moves and make some guys miss. And then he's going to end up throwing it back to Andy Dalton. And then Dalton makes the guy miss. They got out to the 35, and then Dalton to Russell Bodine, who gets jacked up by J.J. Watt. And J.J. Watt is fired up. He knows it. The Texans go on to win an ugly game, 13-9. This was literally painful for me to watch. There was so much bad in this game. The quarterback play was not good. Don't let the long run by Deshaun Watson fool you. He had 125 yards through the air. The offensive line plays were horrendous. Andy Dalton was 20 and 35. 5 of those were just throwaways because he didn't have any time in the pocket. The offensive lines are so bad.
Yeah, no.
And they're not going to get any better.
Well, they're definitely not getting better. And like we said, Andy Dalton can't play on Thursday night. He showed it again that he can't play. And I think anytime you show highlights from a game and all you can show is 1 first down and then an offensive lineman getting jacked up on your team, you know it's not really a good night.
There's a lot that we're going to dive into about this game, and this is going to basically end up being me being a long rant against the Cincinnati Bengals here. But we want to get your guys' reaction here. Who was the man in the Texans-Bengals game? This is actually a pretty easy vote for me, Mitchell. I'm giving it the ha-ha face. None of you guys deserve it. Now, maybe you can give it to like J.J. Watt or the Texans defense, but that was, I think, more a product of just terrible offenses.
If anyone, I'm going to give it to the people who watched it. If you watched the entire game, you're a true NFL fan, or you just have a serious addiction to fantasy football and want to watch your guys, because that's the only way you watch that entire game. So thumbs up to you.
Again, folks, feel free to get your comments in here. If you have a particular player in mind, it's a no one for me. Look, Deshaun Watson, I am not a huge Deshaun Watson fan. I thought he was fine given what he was asked to do. And the Texans, I have the exact numbers here somewhere for me, but Watson threw 6 passes beyond 10 yards the entire game. They did not take shots deep. Here's twofold reason why. One, and you know this, Mitchell, Watson does not have a strong arm.
It's weak.
It's one of the weaker arms in the NFL based on the velocity numbers from the combine, and that fits with what we've seen on tape. And the other thing is, the Houston Texans offensive line doesn't give him time.
Yeah, no, he has maybe 2 seconds to throw, and he always kind of scrambles around a little bit. But like you're saying with the NFL Combine, I mean, he threw the football only 49 miles an hour. That is the slowest miles per hour for any starting quarterback in the NFL. In fact, there's only three quarterbacks in the NFL who have been miles per hour under 55. Tyrod Taylor at 50, 53 miles per hour is Dak Prescott, and then 49 is Watson. So you can see it.
We'll head now here to some of the social media reactions from this game, and the best are really the worst here. This one from Josh Ennis says, very rarely does a game live up to the hype. Few have. The 2006 Rose Bowl and Bengals-Texans 2017.
Wow.
I love sarcasm on Twitter. Tom says, A.J. Green got 1 target in the second half despite the Texans losing both starting cornerbacks. I am shocked the Bengals lost. More great sarcasm here. Norman Chad says, Texans-Bengals. It's sort of like watching a construction site where no construction is being done.
Oh, man. My dad would love that one.
This one from NFL Mean Fam says, more exciting than the Texans-Bengal game, a dude staring at a wall. I think that's paint drying is the joke there. This one from Rebecca, just a screen grab of Andy Dalton with a very frustrated look on his face. It just says, same. This one from the Laces Out show says, I paid $300 to watch Andy Dalton complete 47% of his passes face. This is where I think it's some of the really good ones. Mike Clay, whenever you get a chance to run an end around with John Ross, you should definitely do it, but with Alex Erickson. The Bengals ran that play multiple times. I've never seen a more baffling decision to stick with the game plan. When you pull your number 1 overall pick because he fumbled, and you put it in a very much stereotypical, undersized, slowish slot receiver.
Yep.
Why would you stick with that game plan? That's why Ken Zampese got fired today. Richard Skinner, who is a CBS reporter in the Kentucky, Cincinnati area, several Bengals players in the locker room said out loud, we just lost to the worst team in the league. By virtue of transitive property, that makes the Bengals the worst team in the league, according to what the Bengals themselves are saying.
Wow.
This is both some shade at Houston and a very bad self-burn.
I don't even know what to say to that. Maybe they haven't seen the Colts play, but man,
Jets.
The Jets.
Craig James here says, this is one of my favorite ones, the Cincinnati Bengals and North Korea are pretty similar. You hear about all these weapons they have, but none of them work.
Oh my Lord, that's it. That's the one.
And then one more here from Jason. Bengals were a bad team. Texans, hold my beer. No, you hold my beer. No, you hold my beer. No, you hold my beer. I think that very much sums up how horrifically bad these offenses were.
No, if anything, that's going to sum up my Friday night, that's for sure. But no, man, what an amazing, tweets. I love America.
These were great. We'll get to another weigh-in here, kind of more beyond just the game itself. And is it time for the Marvin Lewis era to end in Cincinnati? And Mitch, I will start with you here.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. The guy's like, 0-7 in the playoffs?
0-7.
Second longest tenure head coach behind Belichick. No playoff wins, and their team, they had the talent 3 years ago. Teams were starting to kind of replicate what the Bengals were doing, and 3 years later, they're just a dumpster fire.
Bengals-Steelers game when Kimo Van Olhoffen went low on Carson Palmer, blew out Palmer's knee on like one of the first plays of the game. That is still a very painful memory for Bengals fans. You will ask them, and they will say, that was our year. We were going to win the Super Bowl that year. First play was a huge bomb from Palmer to Chris Henry on that play that Palmer got hurt.
I mean, like I said, just ever since, I mean, they have that play, what was it, 2 years ago when Pac-Man Jones ruined it for them in the playoffs against the Steelers? There's another one. It's it's been one thing after another for these Bengals, and it's just getting worse and worse.
The Bengals-Chargers game when Dalton was picked off like 3 or 4 times, I was at that game. A lot of upset Bengals fans. I think what sums up the Marvin Lewis era the best to me is he's always tried to be this disciplinarian, and it always gives the character problem players another chance. And then John Ross, your number 9 overall pick, fumbles the ball on his first touch, and you don't play him again. You bench him. What a great way to build some confidence in your top 10 overall pick than to bench him. The Chiefs did the same thing. Ooh. They didn't do that.
Yep.
You should have followed Andy Reid's advice there, Marvin Lewis. That screams, we don't trust you. Sit your butt on the bench. Like, you spent the number 9 overall pick on him. Play the man.
I don't even think it was that bad of a fumble. The guy put a helmet on the football.
Great defensive play.
That's going to come out.
And you're playing him, by the way, instead you're playing him over Alex Erickson into your slot. And you also had a healthy scratch of Tyler Boyd, your second-round pick from last year. Baffling decisions there by the Cincinnati Bengals and Marvin Lewis, but that will kind of finish up our little rant there. We're going to focus more positive now.
Yeah.
We're going to go into our MVP power rankings. Mitchell at number 10. We've got Le'Veon Bell. So why Bell at 10 here? And this is a nice little explanation of why we have him at 10 here, I think, for you to handle. Why at 10 after a rough week 1?
Because I think what I did here is I combined the week 1 and what I expected for the entire season. I called week 1 Overreaction Monday because everybody after Sunday kind of freaks out over their players, maybe not producing. But Le'Veon Bell, I still think from a talent standpoint, is up there as the most dynamic running back in the league and on a dynamic offense. And I think he's going to get plenty of work, plenty of receptions. And anytime a guy averages 157 total yards from scrimmage in a year, you know how special he is.
Very special. And at number 9 is another Pittsburgh Steeler, one Ben Roethlisberger, much better than Bell in week 1.
Much better, yeah, and it's good to see Ben perform on the road, and now I'm interested to see how he performs at home, where he's always been much better. And this was the first game that we saw with the Steelers with Le'Veon Bell, Martavis Bryant, Big Ben, and Antonio Brown all on the field at the same time. And when those guys have been on the field, Ben's been great, and I want to see what Ben does this week.
At number 8 is Ezekiel Elliott. Now, he was not on our original power rankings because of the question marks around his suspension. Now we feel pretty confident he's going to play all year. He had a solid week 1 against the Giants, 104 yards on the ground, 37 through the air. This seems like this is about where Zeke's going to rank for much of the season, I think, given the way NFL teams and the MVP voting skews towards QBs.
Yeah, no, I mean, we definitely see. I mean, I don't want to give away the rest of my picks here, but we see all the time quarterbacks ranked up a little bit higher. But Ezekiel Elliott on America's team, that's a big market team in the NFC East. And anytime you see a guy getting the amount of work that Zeke does and all the other news and everything going on around him, I think he deserves to be in this list.
At number 7, this is very much perhaps one of the most important players to their team, LaShawn McCoy, who truly is the Bills' offense.
No, the Buffalo McCoys, I've said it before, he keeps getting the rock, and he is their entire offense, and he will continue to be their entire offense. It's just he needs to stay healthy. From a talent standpoint, though, he's definitely up there, and I'm interested to see what he does this week.
I'm curious to see how long he'll stay in our top 10 because, as we know, fair or not, MVP is so heavily built around winning.
Yep.
Bills might not win a whole lot this year.
No, they
but they won week 1.
Hey, they're leading the AFC East, as we all predicted.
One player that I don't think any of us expected to be on here after the first week, and we'll see how long he lasts, is Alex Smith.
Yeah.
But we kind of had to.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like I had to do it. I don't think he'll finish, obviously, on this list, but anytime you lead week 1, 368 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, went into Foxborough, embarrassed the Patriots, I think he deserves to be on the list, but we've had 12 seasons to see exactly what Alex Smith is, and it's definitely not MVP.
It's not what we saw in week 1, and I feel very confident that he's going to come back down to earth in the near future. We'll see how he fares against the Eagles. Maybe he stays on here for a week or 2, but
yeah, we'll
I would be very, very surprised if we come here week 15, week 14, week 16, whatever, and Alex Smith is still around the top 5.
Correct. No, totally.
Pleasantly surprised, but surprised. At number 5, he was not on our list last week, but after the way he performed in week 1, another player who had to make this list.
Yeah, he just got paid. It's good to see a guy that gets paid and makes a great fourth quarter comeback, and they win again. I mean, Matthew Stafford was first in the NFL last year in fourth quarter comebacks with 8, and I think we saw this week against a tough Cardinals defense throw for 4 touchdowns and ultimately lead his team to a win.
Saw a comment, and again, folks, yes, this is just kind of where things stand after week 1. It is a little bit of a hybrid with some, we think this guy's still going to be good. He makes the list, but this is very much partially based after week 1.
Yep, week 1 and a hybrid of my early MVP predictions.
And we'll head now to number 4 on our list. I saw some comments in here about the Raiders. Derek Carr checks in at number 4. A solid week 1. And he ranked number 4 on our list last week. Didn't do enough to move himself up, but stayed where he is and is still very much in the thick of the MVP power rankings discussion.
No, 100%. And I think we saw how much he meant to the team last year. The Raiders were unbelievable last year, and then unfortunately he had a pretty wicked injury, and then we saw how bad they were in the playoffs. And I think when you talk about MVP, you have to put into consideration how much a guy means to a team. And Derek Carr could lead that team, and I think the toughest division in football. And if they come out on top of that division, he has to be in the discussion.
Totally agree. At number 3 is the reigning NFL MVP, Matt Ryan, who we've talked about this before many times, Mitchell. He's not going to be as great as he was last year, but he can still put up MVP caliber numbers.
For sure, and I think we always see kind of the Super Bowl hangover, the MVP hangover, and I think we saw that a little bit this week with Ryan. The Bears actually have a much better defense than what we give them credit for, but anytime that Matt Ryan can go out there and do what he did last year, I think even if he does have a little bit of regression, he could still have a pretty solid year, and he's still a number 3 for me.
At number 2 is one Tom Brady, who didn't fare all that well against the Kansas City Chiefs. You still think he's going to bounce back in a big way this week against the Saints?
I think if there's any name you could have controversy for on this list, it's Tom Brady right now, because he just didn't play well. 0 touchdowns at home, but it's Tom Brady. I'm confident that Brady bounces back. And for anybody who plays fantasy football or anything out there, Tom Brady's playing the Saints in New Orleans this week, and I'm pretty confident that game is going to be high scoring, and Tom Brady's going to be an absolute monster.
The lack of touchdowns is noticeable. He did actually throw for more yards than Derek Carr on 4 more passes and on fewer completions as well.
Yeah, yards. I mean, yards are great, but I mean, we want touchdowns.
We want touchdowns. At least no interceptions.
Yeah, that's true.
And then at number 1, he's still number 1 after our preseason MVP power rankings, Aaron Rodgers.
Has to be. I think the Seahawks have the best defense in the NFL. I'm not really afraid to say that. And I think Aaron Rodgers didn't really play well. He did throw a pick 6, but anytime you go up against a Seahawks defense that is elite as they are, I mean, they have 8 of their 11 starters were Pro Bowlers at one time, and Aaron Rodgers is the most important player to his team in the NFL. I think you put Aaron Rodgers on any team in the NFL, and they're going to be Super Bowl contenders, and he's just – you could argue he's the most athletically gifted quarterback of all time. That's why he's number 1 on my list.
I see some great comments. We'll get to that. We have a reaction poll as well. We'll quickly take you guys through the top 10 one more time for any of you just joining us, or if you want to see them all again. At number 10 is Le'Veon Bell, expecting bigger things next week. Ben Roethlisberger at number 9. Ezekiel Elliott is at number 8. And then another halfback checks in at number 7, LaShawn Shady McCoy, who is the Bills' offense. Alex Smith checks in at number 6. At number 5 is Matthew Stafford, fresh off a great Week 1 comeback effort. Derek Carr, exactly where he was last week, number 4. Matt Ryan checks in at number 3 after a 300-plus yard game through the air. Number 2 is Tom Brady, despite the rough Week 1 effort. And then at number 1 still is Aaron Rodgers. He had been the odds-on favorite to win the MVP entering the season. We'll get to you now here, though, to a reaction poll of who was the biggest MVP snub. These are all quarterback options. I saw some good comments about other players that we'll get to. But of these 4, who was the guy here, Mitchell, that you felt worst about leaving off?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I guess I could say Dak, but I am a huge Drew Brees fan. Brees is my favorite player, but as we said before, you got to win. I guess for anybody that's on this list, I guess it's Dak. And the reason why I say this is because I think he's going to lead the Cowboys to they're probably going to win that division, in a very tough division, and he plays safe football. But I guess if anyone on that list, it's Dak. But I think it's interesting that all 4 of them are quarterbacks. Of the last 10 years, 9 have been quarterbacks that have won the Super Bowl. The only guy who wasn't was Adrian Peterson in 2012.
And that's why there were so many quarterbacks on this list. Again, folks, it's kind of a hybrid ranking of what happened in Week 1 and also who is actually has a legitimate chance to win.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's some great comments here that we want to get to. Adrian, a Panthers fan, throws out Luke Kuechly. I love Luke Kuechly. He's going to be in the mix for the defensive MVP. As good as he is, though, the odds of him winning the MVP are very, very low.
Yeah, I don't even know the last defensive player that actually won the MVP. But I will say, if there's any player who I think is the most important to that defense or to any defense in the NFL, it's Luke Kuechly to the Panthers.
Matt Crozier doesn't like the Alex Smith selection, but at the same time, how can you not?
I mean,
But
exactly.
This is where the hybrid thing comes in. Do we think Alex Smith is going to win the MVP?
No.
No. But after week 1,
You got to put him up there.
you pretty much have to be out there. Sono throws out the name Kareem Hunt.
It's an interesting name, and I definitely thought about it when I was in here, and it was the split between the hybrid and then what they did week 1. And it's one game. It's one game, guys. I mean, we've been seeing all the hype around Kareem Hunt. He looked great, but it's still only one game.
There are going to be plenty of changes on these MVP power rankings from week to week.
Yeah.
I think the top 10 is going to look very different as well.
No, and that's what I mean. It's what I thought before the season combined with what happened week 1. But if Kareem Hunt keeps putting up the numbers he did, yeah, he'll definitely be on the list.
And I think that falls into our next question here, the same type thing with Sam Bradford. Look great. That Saints defense is horrific, though.
That Saints defense is really bad. And,
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it again. I mean, right now they're the second worst pass defense in the league. But, man, they got totally ripped up to Sam Bradford. But I can't give the MVP to the guy that has shoulder pads as high as Sam Bradford. I mean, that guy just looks like a clown out there. You can't even handle that.
All right, folks, thank you for all your comments. Again, this will be a weekly segment here, NFL Power Rankings, and it's brought to you by MyBookie. There are a lot of online sports books out there, but MyBookie.ag is the only one that I use. It is my go-to sports book. It's the best one I've ever used. I've tried the other ones. This one is the go-to. Again, folks, they are matching initial deposits up to $1,000. So you put down $300, $400, whatever, they will give you that as a matching bonus if you use promo code CHAT when you sign up.
Wow. I mean, they match it, the go-to. I thought you were going to say the GOAT. I mean, if there was a GOAT site for books, I mean, it's definitely MyBookie.
Yeah, totally agree there. So again, folks, visit mybookie.ag or chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code CHAT when you sign up. You'll get the 100% deposit bonus. Before we head to our next segment here, we're having a little fun moment here. It's what we call Boom Goes Dynamite. If you guys don't know what that's a reference to, Google is a powerful tool. Use it. Boom Goes Dynamite, all the best plays from week 1 in the NFL.
I love this segment. And yeah, if you haven't seen the Boom Goes to Dynamite, you have to.
I'll take a look here at the week 1 Boom. All right, folks, we start here at Pittsburgh. Big Ben Roethlisberger looking, just going to throw it up top. And Antonio Brown goes up in between 3 defenders and makes the grab.
Wide receiver one.
An absurd play here from Antonio Brown. Texans, Jaguars. This is Calais Campbell. He gets the sack. Record with over a minute to go in the quarter. The most sacks in a single game in Jaguars history. The Texans' offensive line was brutal in this game. 10 sacks in the end for Jacksonville, including this one, the very next play. Yannick Ngakoue knocks it loose.
He's been good.
Yeah, he's been very good out of Maryland. Dante Fowler picks it up and rumbles into the end zone for the score.
I love them pushing him.
That was almost a bra play.
Yeah, really.
That's what that almost ended up being. Carson Wentz doing his best Houdini. He should have been sacked here and then here too. Gets out of it. Flick of the wrist. Nelson Aguilar with his own boom breaks the tackle into the end zone for the score. Aguilar looks like an actual NFL player now.
He lives, Tom. He's
lives.
alive. He can catch a football. I'm so proud of you, Nelson Aguilar. Good for you.
Nice play there from the Eagles. They went on to win that game. Chris Thompson here. This is a boom by Thompson and a bruh by the Eagles tackling.
Oh, boy.
But we give the boom to Chris Thompson because he bulldozed his way through multiple Eagles defenders for the scores. Just that simple little angle route. He broke, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll call it 5 or so tackles on this play. Half the Eagles defense. And then more from this game. Fletcher Cox knocks it loose. And then he rumbles and bumbles, stumbling all the way into the end zone for the score.
Give me that dance.
And then drops the dance.
Hey.
You will see this game again in Bra. I will tease that now.
Oh, he got smashed.
Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox picks it up. For a fat guy, he can move.
Yeah, man.
I love my fat guy touchdowns. Corey Davis, welcome to the NFL, young man.
Ooh.
Great play. Goes over David Anderson. This is good coverage.
Gotta win those
Better
one-on-one
play.
battles. Gotta win those one-on-one battles to be a big-time wide receiver in the
You
NFL.
can't really cover that one.
No.
That's an almost impossible play to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Titans rookies, this is Adoree Jackson on the return. Bounces off one guy. And then he just hurdles him. Hurdles Giorgio Tavecchio. And this is a clean hurdle. Tavecchio barely went down. Jackson
What an
got
athlete.
so high
That
on
dude
this
is
play.
such a good athlete.
This is unreal.
Oh my goodness. The long snapper barely got him.
And
too.
then Marshawn Lynch is out here doing front flips because he can.
That's for you, our resident
This is
Raiders
just-
fan, Alex Rojas. There you go.
Totally unnecessary, but I like this one. I thought it was fun, so we put it in because Marshall Lynch is just having fun out there. Good thing landed on his back, not his head.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that
this would have
would've
been a bra. Here's Marshawn Lynch. This is Jarrell Casey. He just ran over.
Ran him over.
Casey's an incredible player, and Lynch just bulldozed him. Unbelievable.
rough.
Michael Crabtree. Now, this first angle looks like, oh, it's a good catch. The second angle, look at that.
How did he
Backhands
catch
it.
that?
I don't know how he did it. That's not fair. That's also totally
Jeez.
PI on the Titans' corner.
Who cares?
And then Amari Cooper pretends to be beast mode, kind of rolls over one defender, stays on his feet, uses the ball to stay up,
That was
and gets in
incredible.
the end zone for the
I
score.
love how, again, you watch it here. He puts the ball on the ground to lift him back up and pounds into the end zone.
And the offensive line boost too. Incredible play there from Amari Cooper. This I think was one of the best touchdowns we saw all week. Austin Hooper. First off, he's wide open.
One man to beat.
And then he makes Quentin Dahl,
Oh,
or Quentin
goodness.
Demps, just
Oh.
abuses him. Hooper into the end zone for the score, and he knew it too. Put the hand up early.
Bruh. That was a bro.
Yeah, we teased this earlier. Jaquiski Tart, but Newton goes deep.
Woo!
Tart channels his inner Odell Beckham.
Woo! What a catch. His catch was just as good as his name.
Gets a nice little return as well in this one. But we'll show you the pick there. Full extension, one-handed. Did use the second one later, but he palmed that ball one-handed to start. Incredible
Absolute
play. But I think he was only starting because Jimmy Ward was hurt.
Yeah.
More interceptions. Justin Bethel now. Asterisk here. The receiver gets hit, and that's what causes the interception. But Justin Bethel with the great stiff arm, and then he runs it all the way back into the end zone for the score. Nice block there. A couple nice blocks. Bethel takes it in for the touchdown. Not the best play from this game. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to one Kenny Galladay. The
Wow.
full extension grab.
Wow. This dude is nuts. 2
Look at
touchdowns
this.
for him in his
This is
NFL debut.
perfect.
Oh.
That is full extension into the end zone for the score.
Incredible.
Unbelievable play by the rookie out of Northern Illinois. Didn't touch the ground. Not my favorite catch though. It was 1B to 1A. Cole Beasley juggles it and he pins it against his back.
How did he catch it?
I don't know how he does
You
that.
got to check his name tag. You got to check that nameplate
Unbelievable.
for state.
And he one-handed it too. Man. That was Boom Goes the Dynamite here on NFL Daily. Once again, I am Tom Downey. Alongside me, Mitchell Renz. For those of you just joining us, we will take you through our MVP Power Rankings, the controversial MVP Power Rankings. Before we take it through, folks, I'll remind you, there are more than just 10 candidates right now, especially with a hybrid type rankings of who can actually win, who fared the best in week one. It's going to change for quite a bit.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's going to change week in, week out. At number 10, Bell, we think he's going to bounce back next week for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or I should say Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben at number 9 fared pretty well. He was in our preseason top 10. Ezekiel Elliott would have made our top 10 if not for the suspension concerns in our preseason rankings. Now that that's kind of by the wayside, he makes the top 10. LaShawn McCoy, when you're talking true most valuable,
He could be up there.
7 might be too low. Like, he is their offense.
He's their team.
After the best performance of any quarterback in week 1 of the NFL, Alex Smith had to be on the list at number 6. We'll see how long he lasts. My expectation is he doesn't end up lasting that long. But I do think our number 5 quarterback, Matthew Stafford, could last for an extended period of time.
And I agree. He got paid, he performed, and now he's balling out, so good for him.
Derek Carr at number 4, exactly where he was before the season started. I think he'll remain a steady presence in the top 5 of our power rankings. Same with number 3, one Matt Ryan. Probably doesn't win it again this year, but he was very effective in week 1. Not a ton of touchdowns, but plenty of yards, efficient. He's going to have a good season. Tom Brady did not play well in week 1. He did not play well at all. But he still threw for 267 yards, and he's still Tom Brady. If there's a quarterback that at this point in his NFL career has earned the benefit of the doubt,
It's Tom Brady.
it's Tom Brady. And then at number 1, there's no such thing as a consensus at this point in the year, but I feel pretty confident about having Aaron Rodgers at number 1. Obviously, there will be the fans of a particular team. The Raiders fans want Derek Carr. The Falcons fans want Matt Ryan, and so on. But I think Aaron Rodgers is the correct pick at number 1 right now.
But if you ask any of those fans, who would you, if you could build your team around one quarterback, who would it be? And if they don't say Aaron Rodgers,
Unless they're going like, I'm trying to get a super young QB.
you're wrong. It's Aaron Rodgers.
All right, folks. Today's show is brought to you by MyBookie. It's the #1 sports book out there. Bet on everything from NFL, college football, NBA. There's some weird stuff that we're going to get to here in just a second here. Use promo code CHAT when you sign up. They will match your initial deposit up to $1,000. You put down $500, they're going to give you $500 free. You can spend it on whatever you want. And there's some fun stuff that you can bet on now. Mitch has been playing around with the site the past week or so. He's having a little bit too much fun on there.
I can't even believe some of the stuff you can find. Cricket, esports, WNBA, but my favorite, religion. Who's going to be the next pope? You can bid on that. Like that is so mind-blowing to me.
Mitchell's mind has been truly blown today. Some of the cardinal options are on there. Visit mybookie.ag. Use promo code CHAT when you sign up. You'll get a 1,000% deposit bonus. Put down $200. They will give you $200. It's going to be a 100% deposit bonus, not 1,000. Math is hard for me sometimes. 100% deposit bonus. Whatever you put down up to 1,000, they will match. It's an awesome deal.
That's some serious bread and wine
Best
there.
deal out there. We will head now to the injury roundup portion of today's show. We'll take you division by division, highlight some of the more notable injuries this week. The Patriots, 3 players have already been declared out. Danny Amendola, concussion and a knee injury that popped up earlier this week. He's not going to play. Donta Hightower will not play.
Huge loss.
Special team stud Matthew Slater will not play. LaShawn McCoy will play. He has a little groin injury. He didn't practice Friday, threw Twitter into a tizzy. He's going to play. He is a frustrating fantasy player to own because this happens all the time.
Yep, get used to it.
The Jets won't have Jordan Leggett. He's doubtful with a knee. I'd be stunned if he played. And then Rontez Miles out with an eye injury. Dolphins are pretty healthy outside of the preseason injuries that we saw in the past.
I want to know what Rontez Miles' eye injury is. Probably just from watching the Jets play last week. That would definitely do it for me. That's got to be hard to watch.
Sick burn there from Mitchell Renz. Went out to the AFC North again. Myles Garrett will not play. That high ankle sprain going to keep him out for at least 2 more games beyond this one. Kevin Zeitler's questionable. He has the thumb injury. The Browns need him up front. Bengals really wish they had him and they'd re-signed him. To the Ravens, Danny Woodhead placed on IR, the hamstring injury.
That's a shame.
Could be IR to return, but at this point with Danny Woodhead, you're an older halfback who has a history of injuries. You can't feel confident with him.
Yeah, I mean, he's 32 years old. That age, when you start getting up there with running backs, I don't see a team giving him another chance if he doesn't come back this year. Like you said, 32, why risk it with a guy who's got a laundry list of injuries?
Ravens linebacker Zadarius Smith is out. He has an ankle injury. Bud Dupree says he will play. That's a big boost for the Steelers pass rush. He's a very talented player, former first-round pick out of Kentucky. And then Stephon Tuitt is questionable. He had the shoulder injury last week. I don't know if he's going to play. He's kind of a true questionable. If he doesn't play, I think he'll only miss a week or 2.
Yeah, well, did he practice today?
I don't think he did, no.
That's never a good sign.
And if he did, he was only limited.
Well, probably a game time decision then.
AFC South will go here to the Jags. Jalen Ramsey, questionable with an ankle injury. He is a game time decision. The Colts, 3 players we already know are out. Andrew Luck, Vontae Davis, Ryan Kelly. Starting inside linebacker Antonio Morrison is questionable. The Colts are riddled with injuries. It's not good for them right now. Jonathan Cyprien, the signing who went from the Jags to the Titans this offseason, he is out with a hamstring injury. One more note on the Titans, Jarrell Casey has a back issue. He is expected to play, though.
Oh.
Big boost for the Titans' defense. To the AFC West we go. Broncos offensive guard Ronald Leary is listed as questionable. I'll be quite surprised if he plays.
Yeah, anytime we see...
He's still in the protocol.
Yeah, it's not good. On a Friday, no, I would consider him out.
Broncos defensive end Jared Crick is likely headed to IR. He had back surgery. It hasn't been an official move yet. He's been having back spasms. It's been so bad that he needed back surgery.
Wow.
That sucks for Crick. Like that's painful.
Like I said, I've never really had major back problems, but anytime you're dealing with the back, especially in football, I mean, we just saw the whole ordeal with Romo. It's not good.
Rough. Darian Stewart is questionable with a groin injury. We'll see if he plays. Jason Verrett also questionable. Sean Smith has a neck issue. He's been a bit of a bust signing thus far. We'll see if he plays. The good news for Oakland, Garyon Conley should play. has had some shin injuries. He'll probably play most of these special teams, maybe some slot corner early on for the Raiders, but he should play in week 1. Comment here coming in from one Greg Leck asked, is it time for the Colts to move on from Andrew Luck? Mitchell,
No.
I will start with you on this one.
I'm going to say no. It's not even close. Andrew Luck, I feel so bad for him, and I feel bad for Colts fans. They've wasted him. They haven't put anything around him, and it's so frustrating because he has all the tools in the world. He is a great quarterback. It's just they haven't been able to put an offensive line around him, and no wonder he keeps getting hurt.
I'll be nice, and I'll briefly entertain this question. Let's say you did want to move on from Andrew Luck. What's your backup plan?
Scott Tolzien.
Jacoby Brissett?
Let's be real.
That's not a good backup plan. You get Luck back as soon as he's fully healthy because he is your franchise quarterback. If you were to put Andrew Luck on the trade block, 30 NFL teams, like even teams like the Patriots would call. They'd be like, hey, can we get Luck? Like,
seriously,
what are you asking for? Like, there are a handful of teams with a better, younger, more talented franchise quarterback than Andrew Luck and the Colts right now. The Colts would be foolish to move on from him.
I don't think there's no younger quarterbacks, honestly, that I would rather have than Luck.
Even with the injury issues. Yeah. It's still Luck.
The injuries are induced by a poor offensive line and a poor team around him.
If there is a bright side for the Colts being bad, it's a pretty solid draft class for tackles and offensive linemen, unlike last year.
Well, let's
or
hope
it's
they
shaping
actually
up
draft.
to be,
Let's hope they actually draft one.
Yes. Hey, new GM. I think they'll be making some good moves. We'll stick with the injuries here. Head to the NFC East. Giants receiver Odell Beckham. He is still questionable. It's going to be another game time decision. I thought for sure he was going to play last week. I thought this was just Odell being Odell. Then it comes out that his injury is a 6 to 8 week injury.
That scares me.
That worries me. I haven't been a fantasy league. I am concerned about not just Odell Beckham, the entire Giants offense.
Well, the Giants offense looked bad without Odell, and I think there's another guy. We see how important he was to Eli, to that offense, and I hope he comes back. He's a fun guy to watch, and he's going to make the Monday night game a lot better if he's on.
Bobby Hart, the right tackle, questionable. He sprained his ankle in week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys. If he can't go, I imagine DJ Fluker will shift from backup guard and go play right tackle.
As if their offensive line couldn't get any more ugly.
Yeah, the Cowboys will not have Orlando Scandrick this week. He is out with a hand injury. Terrence Williams is a true questionable with an ankle problem. I don't know if he's going to play. He's never missed a game. Before this week, he never missed a practice. He missed 2 this week. Actually, 3. He missed 3 this week.
That to me, that's
a bad
pretty
sign.
bad.
Eagles halfback Donnell Pumphrey tore his hamstring. He has gone to IR. He could be designated to return, but he wasn't active in week 1. He probably wasn't going to play. They might just keep him on IR for the entire season.
Yeah, I definitely would. He's a young kid. That running back situation needs to be figured out. And then also, when you see guys really injure their hamstring like this, they're not in game shape even if they do come back. Which
Hamstrings linger.
Exactly.
And it's a tough injury to recover from. Speaking of hamstrings, stop if you heard this before, Mitch. Josh Doxson is hurt.
Yep, and it's a shame. Dude's really talented coming out of TCU, but he just has not been able to stay healthy, and I really hope this kid can put it together. He is a talented guy.
Big question mark for the Packers. Brian Bulaga is dealing with an ankle injury, and he's been sent home from practice twice this week because he was sick. It's not like your little sniffles or your common cold. He's been battling some pretty significant flu symptoms. So we'll see. You're coming back from the injury, now you're sick. Just being in shape is tough at that point.
Yeah, you got to stay hydrated, and then when you're just talking about the injuries, you also don't want to get the other guys sick. We know athletes are always together. So
the Bears, they could have had their own graphic for today's show. They could have had their own entire injury report. In addition to Prince Amukamara, Kyle Long, and Marcus Wheaton being questionable with ankles and finger injuries, Josh Bellamy is questionable, maybe doubtful with an ankle injury. Jordan Howard should play. He popped up on the injury report with a shoulder injury. Jarrell Freeman and Kevin White are both done for the year. So the Bears' injuries are piling up. Not good for a team that wasn't protected by really anyone to be a good team this year.
Yeah, that's for sure. I feel bad for Kevin White. Kevin White had a lot of prowess coming out of West Virginia. He's just another guy. Can't stay healthy, and I don't know what it is.
Vikings, some injuries as well. Anthony Barr is battling a hamstring. He's questionable. We mentioned Sam Bradford earlier in the show. He had the MRI on his knee. Mike Zimmer expects him to play, but he is going to be listed as questionable. Again, there's no probable tag. And then also monitors Xavier Rhodes, a hip injury. The Saints are already without their starting left tackle in Teron Armstead. Now right tackle Zach Strief is out this week with a knee injury. That's rough for the Saints. Stephon Anthony, the former first-round pick, is questionable with his own ankle injury. The good news for the Panthers, Vernon Butler should play. Now he missed last week. He was a full participant in practice today. So
That's huge.
he's going to play in week 2. The Falcons, Duke Riley, Alex Mack have been limited in practice with a knee and back injury respectively, especially for Alex Mack. They need him out there.
He is the focal point of that offensive line, and he really helped Matt Ryan last season stay upright. And I think that's why the Falcons had such a good year. We don't really talk about the offensive line as much, but keeping Matt Ryan upright and giving him that time, that's one of the main reasons why he was able to stretch the field.
The Cardinals, much like the Bears, have had their own run of injuries. Carlos Dansby on the bright side should be fine to play this week. Mike Iupati is out with a triceps injury. John Brown continues to battle lower leg or lower body issues. He is out with the quad. We'll talk more about John Brown as well. Jermaine Gresham not on this list, a rib issue. Robert Nkemdiche battling a calf injury. Deion Buchanan battling his own injuries. Jimmy Ward is questionable. He's been practicing, but the Niners are taking things slow with him because he didn't play in the preseason either. So they're trying to take it slow with Jimmy Ward. Reuben Foster is out. Kevon Webster, the Rams corner who came over from the Denver Broncos this offseason, questionable. They're kind of thin at corner. They need Webster out there. And then this is one of the more interesting ones. Richard Sherman is questionable with a hamstring injury. Now, he hasn't practiced the past couple days, but Pete Carroll says he thinks he's going to be out there.
I think he's going to play too. We didn't see – he missed Friday's practice last week, and then he played all 82 snaps. So I think Sherman's on the field. He's a competitor. We know he wants to be out there, and this is a game where they want to redeem themselves after a loss to the Packers, and at home, they're going to crush the 49ers.
All right, folks. Once again, I'm Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. That's Mitchell Renz at Mitchell Renz365. We'll now take it to the 5 most impactful injuries in Week 2. Now, some notable players that aren't on this list. We've ignored guys like Andrew Luck or Ryan Kelly, who we've known for weeks now are not going to play. We also ignored David Johnson, a very notable name that has a massive impact on Arizona. We've talked a lot about that on NFL Daily in previous shows. Like the page NFL by Chat Sports, you'll get notified when we go live. And that's an injury that we knew about earlier this week. And this is more along the lines of players who
we just found out.
They were just declared out. These are more recent injuries or guys that we don't know their status yet.
Exactly.
So at number 5 here is John Brown. This was kind of a surprise out that was ruled today because he just can't stay healthy, man.
This hurt me. I actually wrote about him in one of my articles that I released for Chat Sports because everything that I was reading about him, he was good, and now all of a sudden it's flaring up, and I wonder if the sickle cell is what's bothering him again.
I think it is.
And we saw last week he had 9 targets, and man, this would have been such a good matchup for him against the Colts, who really struggle against wide receivers going deep, and it's really sad to see because John Brown's a talented dude, very, very talented wide receiver.
Number 4, Brian Bulaga, the tackle for the Packers. Now, Jason Spriggs can step up if Bulaga can't go, but this is a guy they want out there. And he is very much a question mark. It kind of seemed like he was going to play last week and then kind of a last-minute scratch there. So we'll see what happens this week. Battling the illness in addition to the ankle injury, it just complicates things for him.
It definitely does, and anytime you have a guy protecting Aaron Rodgers, you want as many pieces out there as possible. And he's kind of the leader out there. Bulaga's been on that offensive line for quite some time, so it'll definitely hurt the Packers if he's not there.
An injury report we won't know for certain until the 90 minutes before the game kicks off. Jalen Ramsey is a game-time decision. He is battling an ankle injury. I am a huge Jalen Ramsey fan. If he doesn't go, that thins out the Jaguars' cornerback spot. That sets up better for Marcus Mariota.
That's what I mean. I mean, luckily they still have A.J. Boye on the other side of him. But Ramsey's been great. His second year now in the NFL, but the Titans have wide receivers. I mean, we're talking about Eric Decker, Corey Davis. They have other pass catchers like Walker. So I'm interested to see if the Jaguars can hang up because they looked really good week 1.
They did against a pretty bad Houston team.
Yep.
Number 2, Donta Hightower will not play in week 2 for the Patriots. He's number 2. Number 1, I think, is going to be pretty obvious for everyone watching, but he's number 2. He is essential to that defense, and when he went out against the Chiefs, there was a distinct change in how effective the Chiefs' offense was.
Definitely. I mean, when he left the game, the Chiefs went on a 28-3 run. Like, think about that. And then we just saw the backup linebackers for the Patriots get absolutely torched, and it's a reason why the Patriots right now, if you look at defensive stats, they're at the very bottom. They gave up 507 total yards to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's mind-blowing.
And then at number 1, I think everyone can agree with us on this one, it is Odell Beckham. And we don't know if he's going to play. Odell Beckham, look, I don't have an issue with it, but he loves the drama.
Yep.
That's why he said this was a 6 to 8 week injury. There's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate knowing just how severe the injury actually is. I like it when my players are honest, but a lot of receivers would just go, I'm fine. I'm like this close to being back. Beckham laid it out for us, but it has me worried. And I think in terms of most impactful, we saw how bad the Giants' offense was without Odell Beckham.
Yeah,
if he doesn't play again this week, like...
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Luckily, the Giants have at least a decent defense, so maybe they can kind of hang up or hold on against the lead or whatever they have against the Lions. But
and they kind of did against the Cowboys. It was close for a while. But
yeah, but without Odell, man, that offense I couldn't believe how bad they looked. So hopefully Odell can play. I have him in a lot of fantasy teams. I actually have him in a fantasy league it's called Scott Fishbowl, 720 teams.
I know that league. Yeah, that's a tough league there. We will have updates for you on Odell Beckham on the Chat Sports app. Download Chat Sports app. Chatsports.com/app. Get notified all of the latest updates on all of the injuries as they happen. You can just pull up the app there. The feed will be full of injuries come Sunday morning.
That's for sure.
That's what it'll be, and it'll be full of your teams. You can follow your individual teams. So you want to follow, Cowboys, Rangers, whatever. You got that. Download chatsports.com or download it at chatsports.com/app. In the meantime here, folks, we have another little segment for you here from our NFL Daily Recap shows. It's Bruh. It is all the worst plays of the NFL in Week 1. Not just the plays, but the fans as well. Take a look. No one showed up to the Rams game, Harris. There's just no one there.
Well, when Andrew Luck's not playing, they have no reason to go.
No one showed up to the 49ers game either.
This is embarrassing for the NFL. This is embarrassing.
Opening game of the season and no one bothers to show up.
That's rough.
We had to include one Scott Tolzien play. This was the second pick six he had. Just a terrible throw. Wasn't even on target. We just had to include one. Carson Wentz apparently thinks Darren Sproles is like 6'4".
That was not good.
Too high.
Carson Wentz looked good in this game, but that was bad.
Just too high there.
You got to hit him.
Too
That was
high.
bad.
This is the Bears being unable to catch. There's one drop.
Show me this again.
Josh Bellamy. It's second time to charm. Jordan Howard. Tried to move before he had the ball. Dropped. Doesn't. An incomplete pass. All right, third time is the charm. Zach Miller.
Goodness.
No. Tough play. And then they get sacked. Lions botch a punt. This is Casey Redfern. You had one job, by the way.
That was
Didn't
bad.
do it.
Awful.
Didn't punt it. And then Harris gets lit up. We're going to add injury to insult. Redfern in this game tore his ACL, his MCL, and had a partial tear of his patellar tendon.
Got wrecked.
So I feel bad now for Casey Redfern.
God.
Dwayne Washington, bruh, what are you doing taking this out?
No.
Don't
Just
take this out.
Just take a knee.
You were 8 yards back after the ball bounced around a bunch. Take the knee. Even your up back was saying stay back, don't take it out. All right, folks, watch the cameraman on the left right next to the goalpost. Did he see where it hit him? We're going to show it again. We're going to show it again. But he stood strong. Right to the groin, barely flinches. More special teams issues. The Browns get the punt blocked.
Best kind of issues.
Anthony Chickalo recovers it. Tyler Matakevich with the punt block. I'm sorry, Cleveland, but God hates you right now. That's still the case.
The cheeky pun that the Browns special teams weren't very special.
Way to just ruin the entire show, Harris. This is on J.J. Wilcox. You played yourself, J.J. You went high. You targeted the Browns receiver, and you gave yourself a concussion.
Oh, not good.
Bruh, this is why there are rules.
Yeah, seriously.
Big Ben throws the interception here. It's picked off by Derek Kindred. Yeah, this is a nice play here. Steelers should have had points on this possession. Nice return. The key, though, is away from the play. Emmanuel Ogbah knocks down Big Ben. He flops, and then he goes at his ankles, which, that's kind of dirty.
Yeah.
Like that's a dirty play from Big Ben. Like, why are you going at a man's ankle and his knee? Alex Smith here, the turf monster steps up again. He leads the NFL in career sacks. The turf monster always wins, Harris.
Every single time. You're never going to find a better D end in the NFL than the turf monster.
Great game from Smith. Not that one, though. More from this game. I don't really know what Marcus Peters is doing, but this is rated R. And Andy Reid is kind of laughing and smiling. And it's pretty weird. I don't like it.
It's almost as if he knows what's going on and isn't enjoying it.
Here's the pick six. Aaron Rodgers, bad throw. This is Nazir Jones, the rookie. I thought we had a fat guy touchdown.
Big moment for him, the rookie,
We don't.
his first game.
No fat guy touchdown. It's called back, and this is why. Jeremy Lane and Devontae Adams are going at it. Adams starts this, by the way. Lane gets ejected for throwing a punch. There's no punch thrown. Bra on Lane and Adams, and then bra on the refs. There's no punch thrown here.
Nothing happened.
That was it.
That was it.
Watch the ref. Down he goes. This is the Jets-Bills game. The ref takes a tumble. This, I mean, what else do we expect from a Jets-Bills game?
Not great.
More from this game as well, plus some fan stuff coming up as well.
Okay, hit me.
Tyrod Taylor, bra number 1, you get picked off in the end zone. This is Justin Burris running it back. He had a pick 6 here, but his own man takes him out. And then he's not down yet.
That was the same.
This should have been Bill's ball. This was a bad call by the officials, and then Darren Lee gets flagged because he knocks over Eric Wood after the play.
That was rough.
Eagles fan is excited that he's winning the game here. Redskin fan tells him to shut up, and then they go at it.
Although this dude tries to rip
He tries to take his shirt off. This is why we don't fight, and thankfully some other fans did a good job about stepping in here. This, though, the top of your screen is the key here. The Redskins fan, and we'll do slow-mo, was wailing on somebody here. Right there, throwing punches.
Oh, yuck.
Can we not fight at games, guys?
Oh, no.
This was another edition for today's NFL Daily Show. The beer bong out of the mannequin, a little bit inappropriate. This is why I love Bills Mafia. I love you all so much. Never change.
Oh, my God. I saw that this morning.
He nailed it, too, though. He nailed it.
He did.
A little bit on his beard. So New Era brought a Jet cockpit, and they let Bills fan beat it up. This is my favorite one here. We're at number 70. Wait for it. Wait for it. And he just drops the hammer. He was too excited.
Oh, my God.
He's still going, though. He was excited about this part. His celebration makes it for me as well. Like, he's just so excited about this. More table breaking. It was here last year. It's back again.
From the top rope.
And then he's excited. Also, CJ Spiller's jersey.
I love this CJ.
How old
I
is
was
this
just about to
jersey?
say, that's amazing.
Longtime Bills fan. The moment of the week, though, table breaking part 2 this week. That's not how you do it, guys.
It's funny every time.
They like it, though. Someone's beer was not drank at all. It was spilling everywhere.
I love how they all fall the same way.
Never change, Bills Mafia. All right, folks, that was Bruh. You can catch that weekly on NFL Daily right before Monday Night Football. Again, NFL Daily is live 6 p.m. Eastern every day, 5 p.m. Central. Today's show is brought to you by MyBookie. They've been in the business for years. The reputation is rock solid. They do 100% cash bonuses. Right off the bat, you are making money. You put down $200, they'll give you a free $200 if you use promo code CHAT when you sign up. They have the fastest payouts as well. It's just 2 business days. Now, my picks week 1 did not do very well, so I didn't get that fast business day payout. But you do that, it's rapid fire. Again, folks, head to mybookie.ag, promo code CHAT. They'll give you a matching deposit bonus. That will do it for us today. I know there were a couple comments we didn't get to. I will respond to those in the comments section. Don't want to have you guys feel left out. But for Mitchell, Renz, producer Brett Scott, I'm Tom Downey. You guys stay classy out there.